Hi everyone, this is DT&I Craig of the OGR forum. I wanted to go over my use of the Atlas Non-Derail Circuit Board, the 6924. I've had really good luck with that board, powering my closure rails and also using it for electronic non-derail versus the mechanical spring that Atlas supplies in their rails. This board's good for all switches and really helps out. The steamer's going across a switch that has a pretty large gap between the power rails. So if I can show you the problem here, I've got a Lionel K4 here, and as you can see, it's about 3 1/8 inches across the two rollers. And if I pan over to the switch here, this is an Atlas 054-072 radius switch, and there's a gap between the power rails from here to here, and that gap measures about 3 3/4 inches. There's some plastic, or I don't know what they call that, but it's a pretty sizable gap. So what I've had luck doing is powering, these are called closure rails, and you can do that using the Atlas circuit board. And typically what I do, let me pan to the older rail that I took out. You'll see these two wires here, and I'll use like a 3/16 drill, Cobalt drill, and come through the rail on an angle, usually on a backside angle, and give myself a couple power feeds, and then eventually I run those power feeds to the circuit board. This is the Atlas circuit board, and it's a complicated little thing, but the more you do, the quicker you can wire these things up. I end up with about 11 wires to this. Now we're going to do a demonstration of how the closure rails and how the non-derailleur feature works, and then we'll run the Pacific through this. Okay, just a minute. We'll put a test light on this. Right now the switch is set to go the divergent route. What we have here, we've got a transition point where this inner smaller loop is on the D handle of the ZW, and this outer loop is on the A handle. So right here is where it transitions power. So one of these circuit boards sends the closure rail power from the D handle to this switch, and then I use this junction over on this side of the board to send it to my other switch. And again, I don't know if we can pan over there, but right there it's a number 7.5 turnout by Atlas again. But again, these circuit boards can work with any switches basically. We're just trying to power through the closure rail and give us an electronic non-derailing feature. Okay, let me show you the test light here. So I'll ground one end of the test light here, and this is the inside route closure rail. It won't light up, but you can see the outside lighting up. Now if I hit the switch to go the divergent or through route, now the inside one lights up, but yet this outer one doesn't light up. So that's the feature I'm really looking for. And well, by the way, there's a real nice anti-derailing feature. And what I've got an isolated track here, isolated track section about 14 inches, because I like to make them a little bit longer than my longest passenger car. You know, that might have like a 10-inch spacing. So if I use a 6-inch piece of track, I hear that relay constantly cycle when I got a long passenger train coming through. So the longer my isolating section, the less my relay works. And this is, I'll show you how this works here. my isolating section starts way back here, so I don't know if we can get this all in. Let me pan back here. Let me jump to the other side. And then here I come across a joiner. There, just open a switch for this to go right straight through. And now if I put it on the other track, my isolated section is way back here, and as soon as I come across the jumper, it will trigger it the other track. There we go. So it goes right through here. So again, those are the two features I'm after with the 6924 board. Excuse me. Now we'll run the Pacific through the switch, and we'll make it travel at a crawl speed. And you'll see that none of the sound, none of the performance drops out. So let me set it to diverting, and then call up the engine. Okay, and we'll get it going just real slow here. There it is. Here it's coming into the switch, and you can see it just crawling through. There goes the relay. You can hear that maybe in the background. And again, those pickup rollers on that engine is like 3 inches, and the gap between the closure rails is almost 4 inches. So. Okay, let me stop this. Using these circuit boards, I tie them into my ASC controllers, and this one's set at switch number 1, so I'll tell it to do the through route now. Might have to move the engine up. Okay, there we go. There we go. And now I'll back up the engine. And you'll see it go through that switch no problem. Now next I'll do a demo. I'll pull the fuse out of my, I like to fuse the power leads going into the circuit board. So I'll pull that fuse and I'll show you what a disappointment it is if you don't power those closure rails. Okay, for the second half of our demo, I pulled this little fuse. It's a 3 amp quick blow fuse from Radio Shack. I got that tip from another forum member, CT Mike. He really does a beautiful job wiring these circuit boards up. But now I'm going to try to creep real slow speeds, this 490 Pacific through the switch, and you'll see what got me to search for this solution. So there's our engine. We'll get it going. And right about here, it's there. See, let me power down my track 4. So that's the problem right there, where the pickup rollers just cannot span that without the power railing. Let me back that up, and I'll get the fuse back in, and we'll move on. Okay, in the final segment here, I set the camera up underneath our layout, and I've got one of these circuit boards installed. Not the same one that was feeding 2 switches. This feeds only 1. But I just wanted to go over this real quickly with you. And the Atlas instructions it's just a 1-pager, so they don't give you a whole lot of detail, but they have a real good website, good customer support. So I'm using figure 1, how to power the board, figure 3, how to use the non-derail wiring, and then the last one is number 7, how to do the power routing. But if you really get sophisticated, there's another set here to how to power custom signals. So let me go over this real quickly with you. This block right here, the blue and the black wire power the circuit board. These 3 red ones, the top one is the track power coming in my A handle, and here's 2 going out to the feeder wires of the closure rail. This here triggers a switch, whether it's divergent or through, and I've got this tied into isolated sections on both of the divergent side of the switch. And then I also have them tied into the switch machine, which is powered by the ASC 3000. J4, this terminal block here, actually powers the non-derailleur feature of the circuit board.